Back in 2015, Warner Brothers released Batman Arkham Knight on PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
That's right, it's another GameRanx video. Did you know my first response video ever was to GameRanx? And it was on this exact same topic? And now here we are in 2023 and we're right back where we started. That's some good storytelling.
It's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
The PC version was unique at the time in that it was an absolute train wreck at a time when the PC version of a game was always considered to be the best version.
Is that not still the case after a whopping one outlier? Like, yeah, Arkham Knight was a trash heap when it came out, but that's not a very big sample size, nor is it very relevant to the point of a video called What the Hell is Going On with PC Game Ports. In a 2023 video about 2023 PC gaming, opening your argument with Arkham Knight is a really bad look. And everyone has already explained why over the last 8 years, so I'll give you the cliff notes. Arkham Knight launched busted on PC, unforgivably so. But patches were issued, and now it's hands down the best version of that game. In fact, Steam's recent reviews are overwhelmingly positive. Put simply, PC ports sometimes come out busted, but they are patched far quicker than console games are. And once we get those patches, we are always, 100% of the time, getting better performance than the competition. I mean, Arkham Knight ran at 900p 30 FPS on the Xbox One when it came out, and it's not like that got better with patches. So even though some console versions of multi-platform games may launch in a more functional state than their PC counterparts, they're also going to be capped at performance stats that would be unacceptable on the PC, which makes it all the more embarrassing for Xbox and PlayStation versions of games once the PC's technical issues get ironed out, because then we can basically run the game however we want. No one is excusing the way Arkham Knight launched, but again, overwhelmingly positive recent reviews. 5 seconds of research would have eliminated this argument from your video, and yet it's here anyways.
That is not how things are anymore. In the 7 years that have passed since then, the idea of the PC version of the game being the best version has evaporated into thin air. It's gone.
Literally not true. Like, at all. Console games are still coming out with 60 FPS frame rate caps, and as I said in the previous video, there's only a few dozen games on the PS5 that can even manage getting triple-digit frame rates. Like, yeah, sure, there's plenty of PC games coming out with more demanding specs, and, maybe not as great of performance as I'd want from them, I'll give you that, but they are always, 99% of the time, always better than the console counterparts. And the only reason I'm saying 99% is because I'm sure there's an example somewhere. I can't think of a single one, though.
Instead, we are really seeing tons of issues when we play games on PC nowadays. So, well, let's just get into it.
Blink and you'll miss his massive sample size of 3 games to indicate an epidemic of bad PC ports. But let's take a look at the games he actually mentions here. First, he brings up Wo Long Fallen Dynasty, a game that has plenty of performance issues on PC, but also looks and runs like complete ass on consoles. And I'll direct you to this video by open surprise to see what I mean. And no, your eyes do not deceive you, the Xbox version of this game struggles to maintain 60 FPS on the allegedly most powerful console to ever exist. It also dips below 30 on the Series S, which is fucking unacceptable. The second game you bring up is Wild Hearts, which I honestly never heard of, but after a single Google search, I discovered that it was wildly unoptimized on every platform. The resolution mode caps it at 30 frames per second on an allegedly next-gen piece of hardware. Are you sensing a pattern here, dear viewer? The PC versions of these two games have been technically disappointing and certainly below standards, but they were still doing way better than the console versions. I'm not excusing the PC performance of these games at all, but the argument you're making is that the PC versions are not the best versions, which simply is not true. But let's keep going, shall we? Your third example here was Warhammer 40k Darktide, which is a little strange because it's literally not on consoles. Like, at all. The PC version had its issues, for sure, but it's really not a great example of superior console ports, because there is no console port. Meaning, out of your 3 examples as to why console ports are better than PC ports, none of them were actually better.
Nice execution.
You're doing terrific.
This is kind of just what GameRanx does. Like, they just have Falcon rapid-fire a bunch of points while speaking through his nasal cavity and hope nobody fact-checks them. But we did, and yeah, this is dog shit. But let's just keep going with this. We're only 47 seconds into the video, by the way, so strap in.
Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on GameRanx we ask the question, what the hell is going on with PC ports?
Sorry, just wanted to remind you that he's mentioned 4 PC ports so far, and all 4 of them have been better than the console counterpart, and one of them is 8 years old. Just want to make sure we're all on the same page here.
Sorry to slow you down.
So, I'm not necessarily sure I would call Arkham Knight our flashpoint for this issue. Although, it's a nice little trip down memory lane if you want to go back to our very first Before You Buy, where Jake reviewed the console version of the game and mentioned the whole controversy with the PC one, but was pretty safely nestled away in the good version of the game.
This insistence on bringing up Arkham Knight is always so strange. Like, console fanboys always do this when they're trying to demean the PC. It's like they're one ace in the hole that they refuse to let go of. But like I said before, it's not even an ace in the hole. They just don't know that because they stopped thinking it's step 1 in this debate. Like I said before, assuming console performance issues do get patched, they still have hard resolution and frame rate caps. God, listening to this guy gives me a headache. It's almost as bad as that time my internet data was stolen. And if you're worried about your internet data being stolen, then have we got a sponsor for you. This video is sponsored by ExpressVPN. I have a sponsor this time. ExpressVPN is a virtual private network that encrypts your data while using the World Wide Web, keeping you safe and secure, no matter where you are or what you're doing on the internet. In the modern age, hackers are always trying to steal your data, and your own ISP is constantly monitoring and selling your search history, which is incredibly creepy. The government can also collect your personal internet data, which is a very obnoxious use of your taxes. And there are also plenty of people who like to DDoS you on online games, which is just stupid. Thankfully, ExpressVPN ensures your safety and privacy at all times, giving you free range of the internet without ever having to worry about someone rummaging through your stuff. You can also use ExpressVPN to dodge censorship and access region-locked content by using it to trick your browser into thinking you're somewhere else in the world. ExpressVPN is super easy to use. All you gotta do is download it on any device that you want and hit that booper from red to green, and you're good to go. You can use the internet basically however you see fit. So to get ExpressVPN, use the link in the description to get 3 months free on me. It's free. Do it, please. Huge thanks to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this video and keeping the internet safe. And now back to whatever stupid thing you were watching.
Where PC games became a big business again, and they intentionally developed games side by side with one another on PC and consoles with the intent to do well on both.
Did you say PC games got big again? Like, when was PC gaming ever not big? World of Warcraft came out in 2004, Counter-Strike 1.6 came out in 2000, I think. And what about all those other games in between, like The Sims and League of Legends and Dota and Half-Life and Minecraft? PC gaming literally never fell off. I don't know what you're getting at here.
Arkham Knight actually came out during this era, and generally, PC ports I don't think were at their worst. But if one can remember back to the 90s, things looked a lot more similar to how they do now.
Ah yes, the 90s. That relevant to modern conversation 90s.
Back in those days, PC architecture and console architecture was completely different. An Intel Pentium was nothing like a Sega Genesis, which was running on a Motorola processor dropped into an adaptation of Sega's System 16 arcade board, or Super Nintendo, which was just an entirely custom processor built by Nintendo.
When someone starts making arguments from 3 decades ago, you know they're about to start spouting major bullshit. Like, if you have an argument to make, just make it. The architecture of consoles and PCs back in the 4th console generation is completely irrelevant to the argument you're trying to make. But you're bringing it up anyways because you're just trying to pad the video and sound smarter than you actually are.
In fact, this was basically the problem with PC ports up through the PS3 and the Xbox 360. The fact was, consoles and PC were just fundamentally different things. So it made sense that Sonic 3 and Knuckles on PC, the original port, was terrible.
Again, how is this relevant? Reminder of what this video is titled. How is Sonic 3 relevant to this in any possible way?
Because every PC port from a console game was terrible. But sometime in that Xbox 360 PS3 era, developers were just like, you know what, PCs are better, and these consoles suck to develop on.
Gee, I wonder why developers were saying that. It couldn't have anything to do with the limited restrictive hardware while the GPU and CPU markets on the PC were exploding. This article is from 2010, which I guess would more or less line up up with the time period you just described, but basically once we crossed over into the HD era and console and PC versions of games could be more uniform, a lot of publishers started demanding that the game be as close to parity as possible across all platforms, which was really fucking awkward because the PS3 and Xbox 360 were insanely underpowered for HD gaming. And if all that sounds familiar, it's because that problem has persisted ever since. The PC is an open marketplace with new hardware constantly coming out, while consoles are stuck in one technical place for close to a decade at a time. I don't know why you're being so dismissive of this or acting like it's a crazy concept when it's honestly really simple.
Let's make the PC version better. And we actually saw that a fair amount. Still, when a game would come out on consoles first, like, say, Dead Space back in 2008, apparently. Wow. I know we talked about the Dead Space remake a bunch recently, but I always forget how old that game is because it just holds up so well.
Yeah, Dead Space came out in 2008. Again, how is this relevant to the 2023 PC gaming discussion? Also, going back to what you said like 10 seconds ago about developers being like, oh, let's make the PC version better. I mean, like, that's a tad disingenuous, because all things about the game being equal, the PC version will pretty much always be better simply because of the nature of the platform. The PC is simply capable of more than the console, and even a mediocre PC port will usually outperform its console counterparts because of the inclusion of things like graphic settings, mods, higher frame rates, higher refresh rates, more input options, and just more control over the game in general. It's not just a conscious effort to make PC versions of the games better. That does happen as well pretty frequently, but it's the fact that there's a fundamental difference between the two platforms that you're just refusing to acknowledge for some reason.
Still, the PC version of that was exemplary of the problems of PC ports of console-only games because, well, it basically had to just make the game again.
Wait, are you seriously suggesting that the PC version sucks because it's a parody of the console version? Like, seriously? All things are equal, but the PC version sucks. Is that seriously the argument you're making here? Like, yeah, a PC port being restricted to the console's performance is super lame, and frankly unacceptable for a PC port. But if we're just taking your argument, if we're talking raw game performance, how can you possibly suggest the PC version is worse than the console version if they're literally the same? A common theme in this video, in case you haven't noticed, and you're going to notice going forward, but a common theme in this video is even at the PC's worst, it is almost always giving you, at the bare minimum, a parody of the console performance.
How many people have ever played GTA 4 on PC? There are guides, not to how to beat the game. Like, these walkthroughs are not about playing the game. They're about letting you play the game.
Remember what I said about GameRanx just throwing a million things at you and trusting that you don't fact check them? GTA 4's PC port had a lot of issues at launch, and it still does have a number of technical issues, but the thing you're leaving out here is that it was part of the god-awful Games for Windows Live system, a system that ironically only existed because of the console marketplace, so thanks for that one, guys. Like most Games for Windows Live games, GTA 4 had a ton of problems on PC, but you know what's happened since launch? Games for Windows Live was shut down, and a lot of those problems were erased. The PC version of GTA 4 definitely still has technical issues. It's kind of an infamous port, but it is far and away the best version of the game. And Steam has recent reviews at a very impressive 88% approval. And if you scroll down to the user reviews on the Steam page for GTA 4, you'll find countless posts of people just telling each other how to fix the technical problems that remain. Is the GTA 4 PC port perfect? Oh, absolutely not. But is it better than the fucking PS3 and 360 version? Absolutely it is. This game ran at like 25 frames per second on the consoles. How are you even making this argument?
Seriously, guides for getting the game to run smoothly on a modern PC. This is a game that came out like 15 years ago.
So why are you bringing it up?
For just vastly inferior hardware. But that was the PS3, Xbox 360 era.
Yes, that was the PS3 360 era. So why are we talking about it today? Especially when the console version isn't doing too hot compared to what's possible on a PC. Like, all you have to do is go to YouTube and look up PC gameplay of GTA 4 and you'll see what I'm talking about. GTA 4 definitely has its issues on PC, but this is the payoff for dealing with them. That's kind of my whole thesis here, and you're yet to present a single thing that disproves it.
When the PS4 and the Xbox One came out with much more similar architecture to PCs...
That's probably the funniest thing you've said so far. Like, comparing the Xbone and the piss-poor to 2010's PC tech is not a good comparison at all. And if you were actually gaming back then, you probably know it.
The PS4 and the Xbox One both had x86 CPU architecture, which basically makes them not far from being a PC.
In formation and formation alone. I hate this thing people do where they're like, oh, this console was built in a similar way to a PC, so it's basically a PC. Like, no. By that logic, every sandwich is the same because there's a bunch of stuff between two pieces of bread that you made. Like, that's literally not how this works.
I mean, it doesn't make them PCs, but the similarities are much more vast. Like, the thing that makes a PS3 similar to a PC is that they are electronics. They have CPUs. But once you get into the actual mechanics of how they work, they're actually pretty different.
We've officially crossed the 4-minute mark in this video, and you're yet to bring up the argument that applies to the title of the video. Just throwing that out there.
On a functional level, inside the chips. That stopped with the PS4 and the Xbox One. For a while, I don't think this was actually to the detriment of PC gaming. In fact, I think it actually provided a bit of an argument for prioritizing PC development. Hey, we can make the game on PC and then just sort of adapt to the specific hardware of these two consoles and strip back without having to do a whole lot in terms of code.
This is kind of true, but what you're skipping over, like usual, is the fact that console games during this time period were frequently launching at sub 1080p and sub 30 FPS. So you can go on and on about the architecture of the console all you want, but you're eventually going to have to talk about game performance, which is something you've been suspiciously avoiding this entire video so far.
I'm definitely oversimplifying to some extent, but it's a lot closer to that than in the previous console generations. That being said, although I'm sure that tons of executives that don't know what they're talking about heard that type of simplification and thought, well, that's it. All of our problems have been solved.
The fact that you're accusing anyone of not thinking things through is fucking hilarious.
There are still differences between consoles and PC.
Yes, like performance caps, which we still haven't talked about, even though we've just crossed the 5-minute mark. We're getting all the way through this one, by the way. I'm determined to make it all the way to the end of this video. I'm not tapping out early. I had 10 people send me this video to respond to. I'm going to make it all the way through.
Probably the most notable one is how memory works. Now, I'm not going to dive too deep into it,
because you have no idea what you're talking about.
But the key here is that PCs have both dedicated system memory and VRAM as well. What makes that different from a console is that consoles just got memory, man. There is no dedicated memory in a console. All of the memory is used by all of the things.
Yeah, it's almost like this tech isn't actually very advanced, or even good most of the time. Also, the irony of you going on and on a minute ago about PCs and consoles being super similar, but then you bring up this giant difference between their architecture. Like, really?
So in terms of development, this is a pretty major difference. So a PC having more memory total doesn't necessarily make it better at running something that was written for a console.
Did anybody say it was? Also, stop bringing up Arkham Knight. Like, for the love of God, stop bringing this fucking game up.
In fact, due to the split nature of its RAM, actually has a little bit of extra work. When you've got two sets of memory, you gotta figure out where everything is gonna go. And a lot of the time, something needs to go to both places at different times. So, once again, we have two diverging sets of code, the PC version and the console one.
We did it. We hit the 6-minute mark. Everyone refill your flasks. There's another 7.5 minutes to go.
Keeping in mind that having the x86 architecture still makes it vastly more similar than at any time in the past.
I like how he just casually brings up the x86 architecture without explaining it, as if anyone in his audience is going to know what it is. Again, this is all GameRanx does. Just throw out a bunch of words that you know your audience doesn't understand and then act like you're superior to everyone.
So here's where I start to think that it gets really interesting. You would think that consoles moving to the x86 architecture would make people think, well, we can do the PC version and scale down. It kind of seems to have had the opposite effect, and now it seems like there are a lot more games that are developed console first and scaled up. More like the 1990s, like I said, coming full circle, things are more like then, albeit for different reasons.
Well, I'm no game developer, so I could be totally wrong here, but when you're developing a multi-platform game for PC and console and you have one set of hardware that for decades now has been technically restricting and hilariously outdated compared to PC tech, wouldn't the logical thing to do there just be to make the console version first? Or at least have the console version at the forefront of your mind when making the game, since that's, probably the version that's going to get the most marketing? Like, I'm not denying that it has something at the very least to do with architecture, but I feel like you're getting a little too ahead of yourself here, Like, if I was a game developer and I was making a AAA multi-platform game, and one of the platforms I was developing for was notoriously underpowered and also much more difficult to patch post-launch, yeah, I'm gonna prioritize that one.
I mean, technically different reasons. If you want to talk about what's really driving it, it's all business. In the 1990s, they were developing things on the console first because they were going to sell more games on the consoles, and the PC was such a different architecture, it was kind of an afterthought.
Man, I sure do love talking about the 90s in this video about gaming in 2023. Let me go get my Nokia cell phone and my Seinfeld box set, and we can keep talking about the 90s.
Now, when the architecture is so similar, they've gone through a couple of cycles where they've rethought this stuff and then arrived back at the conclusion, we sell more copies of the games on the consoles, so we should develop there first.
I mean, yeah, there's that too. Depends on the game, though. I mean, the Dark Souls franchise reportedly sold 40% of its copies on PC, and that stat is from 2015, before Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring. DICE also used to be a very PC-first company, but DICE kind of lost their minds a few years ago, so I guess that's kind of a moot point. But I mean, you can also thank the PC community for reviving console games like Death Stranding and the Master Chief Collection in recent years. The PC just has way more games than the consoles, so yeah, console versions do generally sell more copies of individual AAA games, because it's a much more captive audience over there. I mean, if you want to talk about individual indie and AA games, then we can have, I can just flip this argument on its head, but that's a different topic, I guess. If you release a AAA game on console and it has a half-decent marketing push, you're going to outsell the PC version. That's just the way it is. But that doesn't mean the PC version isn't selling a fuckload of copies as well. Just because one is selling more than the other, that doesn't mean the other is insignificant. And to boil the argument down to that degree shows an almost hilarious lack of understanding.
And somebody's going to interpret that as, it's corporate greed, man.
No one's going to interpret it like that. You're just trying to act superior to your opposition, but what else is new? It's Falcon.
And anybody who's paid any degree of attention to me over the years I've been involved in GameRanx, you know my opinion on corporate greed. I don't think I need to justify what I'm about to say by reminding you specifically about what I've said in the past, but I actually kind of don't think it's corporate greed.
A company doing a thing that makes it money isn't necessarily corporate greed? Everyone pretend to be shocked and then go suck Falcon's penis through a straw because he's so fucking smart and intellectual. I don't fucking know what we'd do without his razor-sharp brain on this platform.
This is a very practical decision. The fact is, a PC, although much more powerful, much more flexible, and capable of so many different things, it's not a gaming machine, and a gaming console is.
If the machine plays games, and it has games released for it, and it has more people using it than consoles to play games, I think it's safe to say it's a fucking game machine. Can we stop with the fucking semantics? We're almost 8 minutes into this fucking disaster. Can you get to the fucking point? Fuck.
Oh, that being said, I PC game more than I do console game now at this point in my life. I prefer it, and I think that it's better. But practically speaking, it makes perfect sense that the consoles are being prioritized. Why? Because there's 3 sets of hardware. 2 if you're talking the ones that actually have any beef whatsoever. The Switch really is not a beefy console at this point.
You know what I just realized? He just transitioned his argument from old-ass console ports into modern console ports, and he didn't actually give a modern example. Did you notice that? He was going from console to console, era to era, and explaining why PC ports were lame in each of those eras. But over the last 30, 40 seconds, he transitioned into the modern day without a single fucking example. And he really thought no one would notice.
But when you make a game for the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series, you are locked to specifications.
Yeah, see? He went from the 7th gen versus PC to 8th gen versus PC, and now he's like, yep, I've proven my point as to why 9th gen versus PC. And it's like, no you didn't. No, you did not.
The hardware is the same in every PlayStation 5. When you design a game for the PlayStation 5, there's little quirks and eccentricities that all interact with each other and allow you to eke out certain performance gains in certain areas, and there's certain detriments that you have to avoid in certain ways.
Yeah, but how can you avoid those detriments? It's a trick question. You can't avoid them. Also, this dude really just glossed over performance issues and technical limitations by calling them quirks. Take the boot out of your mouth, put it back on the floor. It's gross.
And it will always be the same on that hardware. Even when they release the PlayStation 5 Plus, it's gonna be compatible hardware that's a little bit better.
Oh, so a gaming PC? Compatible hardware that's not necessarily the exact hardware the game was designed for? You mean like that? You pretentious fuck?
All the same stuff is still going to apply. It is not a radically different configuration, and no matter how much more powerful PCs are, the number of configurations that exist in PC gaming is staggering. It's probably not countable. It's that high.
Yeah, that's why this platform is better, you twerp. Google DirectX and then take this entire video down.
Compared to 1 for the PlayStation 5, 2 for the Xbox Series, you got the S and the X, and eventually you're going to throw in the upgraded versions of both of these consoles, but still, you can count it on a single hand.
And what piece of technology are those games built on, O gracious ruler of knowledge?
Unless you have a spreadsheet and understand formulas, it's unlikely you're even going to be able to figure out how many different configurations there are in the PC gaming world.
Well, actually, all you'd have to do is just get the number of possible CPUs, number of possible GPUs, motherboards, etc., and then just multiply them. You learned that in fucking Algebra 1. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but it's not actually that complicated.
I don't know if you can. I really don't. I'm not going to try.
You can. There's just literally no reason to.
Personally, it's not important information, but just from the perspective of shaders. According to Wikipedia, a shader is a computer program that calculates the appropriate levels of light, darkness, and color for the rendering of a 3D scene. Shaders tend to be different based on GPU rendering pipelines, so hey, how many different GPUs are there in the various consoles? 1. The shader's gonna be the damn same all the time on a console game.
Yep, hope you like it, because if you don't, go fuck yourself. And you think this is a positive somehow.
So, guess what you do? You write a shader that's compatible with that console. Granted, you're probably going to write different shaders for different locations, because in terms of environmental effects, things are often different in different places in the game. But those shaders are all going to be written for the same graphics pipeline and don't require any kind of adaptation. Shaders, on the other hand, for the PC, have to continually be adapted for different configurations.
That's weird, because I've been playing on PC for 6 years now, and I've literally never thought about this a single time.
So a PC game is continually recompiling shaders as you visit new areas in a game. That is, of course, work being done that could be done doing anything else.
Oh, is it now? Well, if that's the case, then why do PC games on net run so much better than console games? I mean, they've only got more shaders, right? So why isn't all that extra work bogging down game performance? Could it be that you don't actually know how PC game development works? And you just picked a handful of buzzwords to try and prove your dog shit point? 'Cause I think it is.
Now, in a perfect world, budgets and deadlines would be set up so that the version of the game that comes out for each platform is the best it can possibly be at launch. As we know, that is not how things go, even when a game is only released on PC or only released on consoles.
So what's your excuse for games like Forspoken, or Hyrule Warriors, or Gotham Knights? Games with abysmal performance. Because the way you're talking right now really makes it seem like you just don't think the consoles have any technical limitations or performance issues. and that's clearly not true. Also, I'm still waiting on literally any example of a modern PC game that's worse than its console counterpart. Like, literally, a single example.
We are very often seeing games released in incomplete states. So when you have a game exist across these two different paradigms, the one that's most likely to make the most money, generally the one that is geared specifically towards the function of playing a game, is going to be the one that gets the attention first.
Why did you pick RE Village here? RE Village runs better on PC. Like, hands down, it runs better on PC. I mean, Village can't even get above 60 FPS on the 9th gen consoles. Like, yeah, like this chart I'm pulling from may have changed since launch, but like, it couldn't even get native 4K 60. I mean, the frame rate rarely even got to 60. Meanwhile, the PC version had some performance issues at launch, but it seems to be pretty solid now, as evidenced by the overwhelmingly positive Steam reviews. And what PC performance issues there were in this game were relative to the PC, not the console. I can't stress that enough. A lot of the time when you hear about disappointing PC game performance, it's still doing leagues better than what the console has to offer. I really need to hammer that home. The PC is capable of more than a console, and thus is going to be held to a higher standard. That doesn't mean that when a PC game disappoints a PC gamer, the console version is suddenly better.
I don't want that to read as a defense, however, because frankly, I think we're all fed up with both of the issues I just talked about. A, incomplete games being released, and B, PC ports of games coming out and sucking. Like, I think that people are actually starting to get to a point where it's too much.
You know what I just noticed? That Wild Hearts article about shitty PC performance that he flashed on screen there, and I think he flashed it on screen earlier, it literally says in the headline, PS5 crash fix. You fucking doofus. It's almost like bad performance can happen anywhere. But also, see previous argument about our platform simply having higher standards than yours. Most of the time, a PC's, quote, bad performance is still better than whatever shit you've got. It doesn't excuse it, it doesn't make it right, it doesn't make it not disappointing when it happens, but it's very important to bring up in this debate, and you've failed to do that so far. And we're about to hit the 12-minute mark. Don't worry, we're almost there, home stretch.
And as game budgets get bigger and scope expands, the question I feel like we're starting to ask isn't, hey, can you stop delaying the games? Like it has been in the past. Like, delays have started to get pretty irritating. The question we're starting to ask more is, hey, executives, can you give the damn developers enough time?
Actually, hot take, my question to major game companies is, hey, can you learn how to manage your fucking studios instead of just throwing money at them? That god-awful Saints Row reboot had over $100 million put into it, and it launched completely busted with, like, nothing to do. Halo Infinite had a fucking $500 million budget and 6 years in the oven with practically nothing to show for it. And shit, Call of Duty is pretty much a yearly example of the fact that money and manpower don't mean anything if you don't have someone who knows what the fuck they're doing calling the shots. This didn't used to be a problem, but then gaming got super big and now all of a sudden every major publisher thinks they can just throw money at an echo chamber and everything will work out just fine.
So that all of the versions of the game that we get are completed before we get them? Like, I did the Before You Buy on Wild Hearts, which is a fantastic game that exhibits both of these issues hard. And it's a big enough slap in the face that the game was basically released incomplete everywhere.
So you agree that this is an industry issue and not a platform issue, right? Because that just made this whole video pointless. But, you know, go get that ad revenue or whatever.
But for those of us who would prefer to play the game on PC, myself included, we get a special level of bad.
No, we don't. We literally do not. You have not given a single example of a PC game that's significantly worse than its console counterpart. You haven't even given an example of a PC game that's kind of worse than its console counterpart. And you were very careful this entire video not to mention games like Gotham Knights or Forspoken, which is fucking hilarious because that would have destroyed this entire narrative.
Again, not bad in terms of the game. I'd had nothing but praise for this game. It's just, this has become such a standard, normal issue for multi-platform releases. And I know at this point, this is kind of just a rant, but any developers or publishers, especially any executives who happen to be watching this, I think you could really, really engender a lot of goodwill by simply carving out timetables for development that allow you to give the PC port enough attention that it's good.
Or just, manage your studios better. Like, I'm dead serious when I say like 90% of the gaming industry's problems would be fixed if developers and publishers had more competent oversight, both financially and creatively. There's no reason why a game like Halo Infinite should have come out in the state that it did after 6 years of development and $500 million. And that's just one extreme example. Like, legit, the majority of the gaming industry's problems today come from the fact that most of the top-down decisions being made are being made by people who have no idea how game development actually works. Which is why the solution to every problem is just, increase the budget, throw more money at it. Like, okay, but what are you doing with that money?
At least as good as the console version.
Well, they already are that, so...
But then that brings us into the whole unfinished game issue, which is, it goes beyond this, obviously. Let's use this issue as a start point for our conversations in the comment section, though. If you like this video, click like.
Holy shit, it's done. It's finally done. There's like a 0% chance anyone is still watching at this point, but oh my god. I am amazed that this video came out. And I'm honestly amazed that it got the reception it did, but I guess that's GameRanx for you. They're just preaching to the choir. I want to thank the 10 people who sent this video to me on Twitter. This was a very requested video, so I wanted to make sure I got all the way through it before tapping out. But now my brain hurts, and I don't have a good way to wrap it up. So I guess I'll just not wrap it up. It's not like GameRanx puts more effort into their videos. Toodles.